Good morning, everybody. That's good. Good morning. The microphone works. My name is Kathy McAdams. I'm the Business Retention Specialist for Economic Development in Calvert County. Thank you all for coming out today. This is a really great audience, and I appreciate your time. I want to thank the partners that came together to put this on today: Calvert County Minority Business Alliance, Calvert County Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development, the Calvert Library, who nicely hosted us and set everything up for us today, and also Bull Rushes, who did our food. We actually have 4 presenters today. One of them is running a little bit late, so I'm going to change the agenda around a little bit. And we're going to start off with Laura Wright, who is the Maryland Department of Labor, Southern Maryland Region Business Consultant, Workforce Development, and Adult Learning. And that is a mouthful, so I feel sorry for Laura when she presents herself, because that is a lot to say. And she is going to do on apprenticeship essentials for employers.
Thank you, Kathy. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm going to start a little bit off with history of what registered apprenticeship is. Some of you may be familiar, some of you may not be. So apprenticeship really started, when you think about it, hundreds of years ago, as a worker that would live in the journeyman's house, maybe somebody that was putting shoes onto horses. And they would start at like 10, 15 years old and live with that person for 4 to 5 years, an indentured servant, if you will, and then learn that trade, and then eventually take over that job within that community or town. And then fast forward several hundred years later to 1937, when the Apprenticeship Act was put into place. And now today, it looks more like safety for workers, health care, better pay, and top-notch training. So next slide, please. So to talk about those pieces, first we have customizable training, and then we have improved retention, better wages and outcomes, and then incentives and support that the state can provide for you and your business. So starting with customizable training, what that looks like for you could be, next slide please. Customizable training, what that might look like for any one of you in this room, would be for your specific occupation. Saying, does anybody have an occupation that they would like me to use as an example this morning? Cybersecurity, information technology, traditional
Food service.
I'm sorry, you can't
Food
read.
service.
Food service. So food service is a absolutely incredible pathway, and that may start with food preparation, and then moving on to, say, a chef, or moving into a management role for the restaurant. So what that might look like for anyone's business, you can plan your own program, or you can utilize programs that the state already has in place for you, or you can look at programs that are at the federal level as well. And these are always going to have credentialing associated with them. Credentialing meaning they're industry recognized credentialing. So if they're working at Restaurant Shelby, they can move on from Restaurant Shelby in the state of Maryland to then Restaurant Rosa in California. And that will be the same credentialing, honoring the same type of work. Next slide, please. Then improved retention rates. I have an example here of Baltimore County Police apprentices that serve an average of 15 years after completing their apprentice. So apprentice training is anywhere from a minimum of 1 year up to 6 years. So what this slide really represents is that retention piece. So it's retention tool not only for the employee, but also for the employer. So when you invest in those that will work for you, we find that they stay with you on average much longer than someone that has not received training through your employer. Next slide. Thank you. Better wage outcomes. So on average, and you can see this is pretty old average, this is taken federally, from 2012, on average, the salary for someone that completed an apprenticeship training is just under $83,000 a year. And I can tell you today, through cybersecurity full pathways, that's usually the start of somebody that's just graduated from that particular occupation, starting out right around that. And again, these folks are staying with those companies much longer. Next slide. So incentives and support, one of the ones that we like to highlight is that Maryland employers can claim tax credits of up to $15,000 a year, which we know is a huge benefit, and that's $3,000 per employee. And this is only for registered apprenticeship, not for youth apprenticeship, but we'll get to that next. Next slide. So components of a registered apprenticeship program. So registered apprenticeship is always going to be first that job position. So let's say instead of from the business's side of the house, let's look at this from the employee side. So an employee comes to you and they hear that you have a registered apprenticeship program. And that's what they want to do. They want to work for you and they want to be in this program. They want to get trained. They want to upskill themselves. They want to make more money. And you're looking for someone that you can keep on for a long period of time. So first, it's going to be up to you and your business, however you set that up, having that time frame of probationary period, whether it be 3 months or 6 months, when that employee, they're done through that probationary period. So they have a full-time position with you at 40 hours a week. And then from there, they are able to apply internally with you for your registered apprenticeship program. And there is typically always an application process because this is a contract between the business and your employee to complete within succession and understand what the commitment is to the program. So it has to be at minimum 2,000 hours of on-the-job training, which that means, you said food service was the example. So you have someone in food service, and let's say that at the end of a 2-year apprenticeship program, they want to move from entry-level position up to a manager in the restaurant. During that transition of those 2 years of training, 2,000 hours of on-the-job training needs to be with someone that is the restaurant manager. That person already has that industry-recognized credentialing, that you're giving that skill set to the person that's learning. So that's a 2-year commitment. It could be with maybe one manager is committed to this for a year, and then the following year it's another manager to learn different skill sets from 2 different people. In addition to that, there's always going to be 144 hours of related instruction. That related instruction is going to be the school piece. So that could be something through the local community college, College of Southern Maryland. That could be something that is done online. That could be something that is also done outside of that 40-hour work week, or if the company is willing to, you can build it in. Some businesses do 4 hours a day on Monday or a Tuesday every week. Some businesses do evening and person classrooms. It really just depends on what your business wants to do and what looks best for that particular occupation and model. As far as pulling all of this together, I'm here to help you do that. You don't need to write your own program yourself. Our staff does that and helps alongside of you. Or you can bring something that you've already seen that you want to put in place. Quality and safety. So that's the piece to protect the employees. And then portable credentialing, I mentioned that, as far as this is something that is industry recognized, meaning it's portable to go anywhere within the United States, Canada, and a few other territories. And then along with industry-led. So industry-led is the example of using examples that are already out there that are very similar to your business versus thinking that you need to start this from scratch. Next slide. So what this could look like, and some examples of how this is put together, is individual programs. So first, you're going to need to recruit and hire, which we assist with that as well. And then submit apprenticeship agreements, along with coordinating the related instruction, finding out who you are going to use. Are you going to go with College of Southern Maryland, someone online? Maybe you're going to do this yourself in-house. Participate and review and program, that's where I come in. And then applying for incentives and credits, that's also where I come in. And then another example is group programs. So this is done through cybersecurity, information technology, and we're also seeing this grow through healthcare. But this is more of a traditional outlook. So when you think about the traditional trades, construction, HVAC, electrical, for example, most of these fall under group programs, meaning there is an intermediary or a sponsor that houses all of the information for all of the apprentices that are within that occupation and provides instructional training, scheduling, kind of all those pieces of managing that training piece for you. And you as individual employers can also join in under that umbrella if that's something that you're in need of versus handling all of that in-house. Next slide. So diving right into youth apprenticeship. This is also referred to through the school system as AMP. So youth apprenticeship is set up similarly to registered apprenticeship. So the whole goal with youth apprenticeship is to then transition that youth right into a registered apprenticeship pathway. So youth apprenticeship is for high school students that are juniors and seniors. It requires 450 hours of work-based training, so that means a minimum of 450 paid hours. They are W-2 employees. So if you already have, let's say, you have a baseline where you currently hire 16 to 18-year-old students that are in high school, you have a need for that. That's part of your primary workflow. This is something that I highly encourage you to look at. And let me go in a little more depth with that for you this morning. So this is something that's exciting for the high school students and then also exciting for the entire community. Our school systems work with you directly. There's a very short application piece. We come on site, check out your business, because we're always excited to check out new businesses. And then from there, the school system really acts as kind of your recruiter, HR manager, if you will. The student has to sign an agreement and agree they're going to meet that 450 hours. Also do some training along with that as well. And then two, the school system handpicks that student for you to make sure it's a good match. It's a good match for your business. It's a good match for that student to commit to that 450 hours. And this can start over the summer. That 450 hours looks like 12 weeks over the course of an entire year. So you could have the student from, say, June until June of the following year. So this is at minimum 8 months, but can be 12 months or more. And then hopefully they will become a full-time employee, be engaged, and be trained alongside you. Next slide. So here's kind of the highlights for you. I know we have listed here that some of the registered apprenticeships can begin at 16 years old. There's only a handful of those, but most of those start at 18. Require a high school diploma or GED, because again, these are entry-level positions. 2,000 hours that I mentioned, 144 of them, our addition is going to be that education and training piece. You're going to have instruction, and then with the youth apprenticeship, currently at 16 years or older, and at least a junior in high school, and it's 450 hours. One course credit equivalent to prior to graduation, so that means within that window time frame, even though that student can start working with you, say prior to junior or senior year, that summer piece will count towards those 450 hours for that student, but that coursework has to be completed during that September prior to May graduation time frame for those seniors. And then local high school students, residents, registered apprenticeship programs, employers, community colleges. These are just to give you an idea of where that training will happen. And again, you have your high school CTE folks that will kind of help you manage through that process. Next slide, please. So connect with myself, apprenticeship and training representative, and we will help you kind of navigate through those, do a checklist, see if youth apprenticeship is a good fit for you, or if you're ready to move right into registered apprenticeship. And if you're not ready, we can talk through that and put a plan together of when you might be ready and what the next steps are and when to follow up with you on that. Get approved. There is an approval process. There's the Maryland Apprenticeship and Training Council Board that meets every 2 months. It is very formal, very vigorous. We stand in front of a group of folks, and they look through your program that you're submitting for review. Because remember, this falls right in line with putting together a program for education to receive your bachelor's degree or even your master's degree. So it's really looked through with a fine-tooth comb, and whatever is approved for the rest of the state of Maryland can be used anywhere else within the nation. So that process has to be met and approved before the registered apprenticeship can begin with your business. And then from there, hire the apprentice, and then there's lots of assistance out there to kind of help you navigate through all of those things. I know it's been a little confusing. There's a lot of talk about youth apprenticeship and registered apprenticeship and what does it mean and how do I get tied in and what do I do and how am I going to manage it. There's a lot of free help out there to help you get to that point. Next slide. So here are some of the funds and incentives that we offer through the state. Again, the Maryland Apprenticeship Tax Credit, $3,000 per apprentice, and a max for a business is $15,000 annually. The Sponsor Apprenticeship Incentive Reimbursement Program is $2,500. That's to get started. And then Maryland Business Works. This is a program that's been in place for many years that's utilized by businesses to help offset the cost of registered apprenticeship training. So what that looks like is $4,500. So let's say you've decided that you want to train me in X credentialing course, and that course costs $4,500. You would work with me, we'd fill out a quick application, it really is quick, it's only a page and a half. And within 7 business days, you'll get a return answer if you're approved, and then you will have to pay that $4,500 up front, and then we will reimburse you at 50%. Once that employee has completed and receives that certification, and it's up to $40,000 a year per business. And then the Registered Apprenticeship Cadet Program that is specific to police and DNR. And then Fostering Employment Program, there's a $1,000 incentive for registered apprenticeship. Next slide, please. And we mentioned youth apprenticeship does have a $1,000 tax credit tied to it. That's currently, and that's a big discussion as well, but that's currently the only incentive that's out there for youth apprenticeship. Thank you. Public Sector Registered Apprenticeship Innovation Fund. This is specific to government entities, and I have a few examples up here. One being DNR, and then one in the city, and another bus maintenance example. So if someone wants to talk about this a little further, that's on the state side, maybe let me know. Next slide. We have on our website, it's called the Apprenticeship Locator. This can give you an idea of occupations that are approved. There's just under 200 different occupations that are approved through the state. It gives you a snapshot of how many hours that does require to complete that particular occupation, along with contact information and then the websites of how to apply. And then the Maryland Apprenticeship Employer Application stand code is up there. And I think the last slide is my information. Taking questions then?
So just a little bit of housekeeping real quick. I actually forgot to include, at the end of all of the presentations, we do have it set up as panel style, so we're going to ask questions at the end to all of the speakers.
Thank you.
So next up is Steve Wall. He's the Maryland Department of Commerce Senior Business Development Field Representative for Southern Maryland. I know, right?
Good morning, folks.
Good morning.
So, as Kathy said, I work for the Maryland Department of Commerce. We are the economic development arm for the state. I like to say that underneath the new administration, the board administration, there's a really big emphasis that's being put on workforce development efforts. Sort of a double-edged sword. As a state, we end up pretty much in line of being some of the lowest unemployment rates in the United States. Because you all are very much aware, our low unemployment rates, basically people that are probably at the point where, not so you can't find a job, don't necessarily want to work. So for you as businesses, it makes it difficult with low unemployment rates. It makes it difficult for us too, because when we do business attraction and we try to bring businesses in the state, we want to make sure that there are people there to work for these businesses that are coming to the state. So a little bit about commerce. We're about 190 people strong. Our office is in Baltimore at the World Trade Center. We do a lot of things from tourism, film, and the arts to business attraction to export services. Right now we're a bit busy in Annapolis. A lot of our programs that are associated with tax credits could be augmented and changed at this point, so we're looking at ways of possibly streamlining these programs, as well as kind of looking deeper into a lot of these tax credit programs, because I think a lot of the issues that have occurred over the years is that these tax programs have a tendency to go to the Northrop Grummons of the world versus doing more smaller businesses. So we're trying to look to make these more fair and equitable. I'm part of a group that's with business retention, expansion, and strategic industries. There's 14 of me's around the state. So what I do is I cover 3 counties. I cover Calvert, Charles, and St. Mary's counties. So my core thing is a little bit different than these folks. I really don't have traditional workforce development programs except for one. But I'm more of a connector. I work very closely with the economic development offices, with Kathy and her crew, as well as in St. Mary's and Calvert County. I get involved with a lot of regional organizations like the Tri-County Council, like the Workforce Development Board, Southern Maryland Ag Development Commission. I've probably learned more about agriculture than I thought I would in my past few years of doing this. So that's a very interesting industry sector, but a lot of very good, unique businesses within that area. So, including also making sure that, folks in Baltimore understand what is happening here in Southern Maryland. For example, our Secretary Kevin Anderson, came down several months ago for a tour of the 3 counties. He visited Calvert here, very impressed on things that are occurring down here. So it's always a good thing to get folks down there and understand the lay of the land. What I do, as far as our traditional programs, we have loans, grants, and things like that. You can find all those on our website, which is at commerce.maryland.gov. Plethora, long list. And I say it's not one size fits all. I don't generally have a catalog, but I don't just want to give it out because every business is unique and different. So the way we work with these businesses is very differently. So I just don't like to throw it out there because what can fit one person may not necessarily fit another person. Because of how we're kind of our core industry sectors are developed, a lot of our programs are catered to manufacturing, technology, cybersecurity, biotechnology, some of the things you hear about in the state that we're focused on growing and retaining, and from that perspective. I did leave really cool small business guide back there that has everything about a little bit about us. It's actually a lot about the Department of Labor. Also, it talks about some of the entities within the state, like eMaryland Marketplace, and some of our small and minority business programs associated with the SBR program, MBE, how to work with eMaryland Marketplace. So it's a little bit of everything within this catalog. The one program I would like to talk about workforce development-wise is a Partnership for Workforce Quality. It's very similar to the Department of Labor's Maryland Business Works program. It's a 50% reimbursement program. It's with manufacturing and technology, cybersecurity-based businesses. Minimums are around $10,000 in training, but we look at trying to cover more advanced training initiatives with that. For example, let's say you're a small manufacturer, just ended up buying a 3-axis CNC lathe machine or something like that you had to fork out $300,000 for. There could be a training component to it. It could be $30,000, $40,000. What we try to do is put the emphasis on making it easier for you as a business. So in other words, let's try to work with you to get this grant program so you're not sending your people out to wherever this piece of manufacturing equipment was made. And then you got hotel stays, you got lost time and all. Let's try to help incentivize you to have that consultant come on board, and that way you can set up and kind of work things, in that direction, and hopefully save you some money and make things more efficient for your company. So we have that Partnership for Workforce Quality program that is done directly through myself. And I've got, again, a bunch of these guys here that are pretty cool. I got some business cards back there, and happy to answer questions later.
Our next presentation is Jennifer Dees. She's the Executive Director of Maryland Center for Construction, Education, and Innovation Incorporated, and Director of Maryland Apprentice Connector, which is MAC. Please.
Good morning. Laura really teed it up for me earlier, and a whole bunch of my presentation I don't even have to really talk about, so it's great. Sorry, so let's see what's.
Not my computer.
So like I said, Jen Lee is with the Maryland Center for Construction Education and Innovation, but also the Maryland Apprenticeship Connector. And,
I have it.
okay. So MACB are funded by the Maryland State Department of Education as an initiative to help Maryland employers understand the benefits of apprenticeships in growing your workforce. So you've had a lot of acronyms thrown at you already today, so I just wanted to take a second to go back over them. So CTE, that's Career Technical Education, that's provided at the high school level. Registered Apprenticeship, we talked about already, that is usually for adults, but there is a way with STA, School to Apprenticeship, to start that while they're still in high school. Youth Apprenticeship, we talked, is also Apprenticeship Maryland. And LEA is the local education agency, that's Calvert County Public Schools here. And then also one thing that is new is that right now, Maryland is one of the few states that actually has a registered youth apprenticeship program, and there's actually a proposal now for it to be with the U.S. Department of Labor as well, so it's pretty exciting news. And it's actually based off of what we're doing here in Maryland, so we are a leader for the nation. So why should you consider apprenticeships if you're not already utilizing them? One, we have a major workforce shortage in the United States at pretty much every industry. So this is a way for you to take ownership and to provide ways to train your own workforce. Get ahead of the competition. Apprenticeships are being utilized across all industries, not just construction anymore. You're competing for the same people, the same high school graduates that everybody else is. Align with the career readiness programs that are being provided. So the blueprint for Maryland's future is legislation that was passed a couple years ago that says that by 2030, 45% of Maryland high schools graduates will have completed a registered youth apprenticeship or had industry recognized credential. So there's a lot of money being put into the state of Maryland to get our high schoolers pathways to success that don't necessarily include four-year degrees. So this is your way to capitalize on that. And then, yes, the four-year degrees inside. So right now, 54% of our current workforce will have retired by 2037. I don't know if that's terrifying for any of you, but it is for me. So if you were to start training an apprentice now, before the last baby boomers turn 65, they will be a seasoned professional. So this is your opportunity. I know everyone wants to hire someone with 3 to 5 years of experience, but you're paying for them to have been trained by somebody else in the way that somebody else wants the work to be done. So this is a way for business owners to take ownership of the training themselves. And I don't know, for 40 years we've told American children that the only pathway to success was through college. Only 62% of high schoolers actually go to college. In fact, in Maryland, only 25% of high school graduates will have a degree within 5 years of completing high school. Now we know at some point they'll get to 62%, but in that time we're losing training opportunities as well as employment opportunities for those students. All right, so I can go through these ones pretty quickly. Let's see. So we did talk about the idea that this is a way for you to collaborate with the school systems, with the community colleges and everything to create that training rather than just have to create it yourselves. Okay. All right, so in high school, these CTE programs have a much more diverse population than the workforce itself does. So that get these kids interested in those career paths while they're still learning about it in school. You can hopefully diversify your workforce and make it more like the population itself. This is a way to raise awareness of what your classes are. What your industry is. CTE, Career Technical Education, is more than just shop classes. There's business and law and marketing and large print graphics and veterinary services and IT. These high school students are being prepared for your businesses right now. Let's see. We mentioned earlier that there is higher retention rate with apprentices. 90% of apprentices stay with their employer when they finish their apprenticeship program. An average turnover rate is about 25% for non-apprenticeship programs. We also talked about community college. So there's actually something called dual enrollment, in which students that are in high school can get college credit. The cool thing is if your apprenticeship program is being provided through the community college, that funding can actually be paid for by dual enrollment credit, so the employer doesn't actually pay for that training themselves. I mentioned earlier about getting kids into careers quicker. The average age of an apprentice is 30. That's 12 years of lost earning potential and a missed opportunity on employers to lower their age. IEC Chesapeake, which is the Independent Electrical Contractors Association, they have 900 apprentices across the state of Maryland. They're the largest apprenticeship provider in the state. By implementing school to apprenticeship, they have lowered their age of apprentices to under 25. So here's some myths about hiring high schoolers, because that's honestly what we are here to do, is help you realize you can hire high schoolers. So the first thing is, a lot of employers tell us we can't hire under 18, insurance won't let us. That's actually not true. The Maryland Insurance Administration just put out notice about three weeks ago that said your workers' compensation rates are not affected by the age of the people that work for you. In fact, Maryland is one of the few states in which you can actually be sued for not hiring somebody under 18. Federally, then you have to be over 40 to have age discrimination. In Maryland, you could actually be sued for not hiring somebody because they're not 18. We would say, my job's too dangerous. Like I mentioned, we have electrical apprentices that are under the age of 18. In fact, kids are lifeguards and child care. If you trust somebody to take care of your child, but you don't trust them to work for you, I think it's, I don't know about you, but I worry about my children's safety more than my work. And there's also something called the Most Student Learner Agreement that is signed for those hot hazardous jobs, like for example, construction. If somebody is not in an apprenticeship program, they have to be over 18 to work in construction. That is negated once you enter into the a youth apprenticeship or an STA. We hear many employers say, well, how, my job's from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. How they're in school, how are they going to work? Well, most high schoolers, the largest percentage of high schoolers that already have jobs. But also, by the time someone is a senior, they're not usually, don't have a full course load, especially if they're not going to college. So maybe they only have math and their ELA to finish. So there's lots of opportunities. There's AP schedules in which they can stack all of their programs on their payday, which means that every other day they could be off of school, they could be working for you. And you can also start your apprenticeship program while that summer between junior and senior year, and they can work for you full time. We have students that have switched to 100% online learning once they get that paycheck. Going back to school is really hard. They obviously still need to finish their degree, and that is a requirement of completing a youth apprenticeship program or an STA, is that they are actively working towards their degree, but there's lots of ways for us to work around that, and schools have an incentive to make this work because they have goals to hit to have kids in apprenticeship programs. Obviously there's transportation issues, especially in construction, is the biggest problem, with the transient nature of construction jobs, but even construction, it's been able to work around that. There's prefab shops that students can be working with. There's carpools. If they're if they've got their license, they can carpool with themselves. You just have the parents sign off. We even have employers that have organized band pools where they'll pick all the students up at one central location, maybe the high school or the middle school, whatever is the easiest. There's lots of opportunities and ways to work around that as well. And also, even have some schools that are utilizing like Lyft and Uber gift certificates for the students. And then, as I mentioned, kids want to work. I have a 14-year-old that has been working as a babysitter for over a year now. She loves having money in her pocket, and I love that I don't have to pay for everything for her anymore. The kids are really excited about that. But like I said, just Gen Z gets a bad rap that they don't want to work, and that's not true. They want to work in meaningful environments, and giving them that apprenticeship program shows them a pathway to success. They're not just coming in with what they think may be a dead-end job. There's actual like documented training, and if you do this number of hours and this many, then you will move up, and they're really motivated by that. And then last, if I already have an apprenticeship program, and to add it to add a high school, it's going to be a pain. We'll have to go in front of MATSE. We heard MATSE is rigorous, but actually that's not true. If you already have an adult registered apprenticeship, there's just a really simple clause that is added. It's administrative change only. It says you're basically changing your standards from 18 to 16 or 17, up to you, and very simple. In fact, I have a direct line to Chris McLaren telling them, all right, so we're actually working. We mentioned earlier that most registered apprenticeships in the state of Maryland require you to be 18. We're working now with all of the unions and the agencies, because the majority of apprenticeship programs are in the construction industry right now, to change that. We just talked to IBEW Local 26, which is the DC electrical union. They are going to be changing their standards to be under 18. The Baltimore union already has under 18. IAC Chesapeake, which is, like I said, they're already under 18. We're working actively to make that an option for your students. So if you're not hiring under 18, they're going to be. So they're going to be getting these workers before you do. And this is the clause to change. And I think that was the last. All right, so some examples. You don't have to be a large employer to make this happen. Seaside Plumbing, they're on the Eastern Shore. They started with 2 apprentices. Now they've got another 2. And they're really excited. They even now have commercials that they're doing on the Eastern Shore trying to incentivize young people to come work for them. And then right here in Southern Maryland, MedSarg Shaw. So they started off with just their St. Mary's County offices, but we're working with them to expand it to Calvert County for the medical assistants. And then once you've got that, we're working to expand them to even further occupations. So now we're talking about what kind of facilities and office positions can be turned into apprenticeship programs. That's one thing. It does not have to be a skilled trade. There is HR and accounting, and I mean, if you name it, it can be apprenticeable. And that's what we're here to make employers realize. Invest in your workforce by training them. Thank you.
I'm super excited that Yvette has made and joined us this morning. I know she was a little bit had some problems getting here, but I partner a lot with Yvette, and if you have not reached out to her, she is an amazing resource. So I am happy to introduce Yvette Turner, who is the lead business engagement specialist for Tri-County Council of Southern Maryland.
Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to introduce to you the Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland and how we can be a valuable resource to your business, helping you both save time and money with your workforce needs. And so I start off by saying that we have a business engagement team that is able to provide you with several different services, and we're going to run through some of those services now. One of them being our employee training grant. For those of you that are seeking financial assistance for some of your training needs to upskill your current workforce that you have with you, this is where our employee training grant funding may be able to assist. This funding is, I'm speaking now of our traditional training grant. Some may have heard about our ARPA. We have exhausted that funding pool. However, we do still have money on the table this quarter for our employee training grant. And that's where you have current employees who have been with you for 6 months or more that you're looking to upskill, to actually maybe advance them within their position, be able to promote them so that you can open up more entry-level positions to bring within your company. And we are able to assist you with that cost by reimbursing you 50% of that cost, up to $4,500 per business. And you get to select that training, what that training is. Sometimes it is certifications that are needed within your company, or it is a specific skill set that is specific to your industry, and we can help offset those costs. The key to this training funding is that you need to touch bases with us at least 30 days out before the training is needed to begin, so that we can process the necessary paperwork, which is not that much at all. And actually, our team does an excellent job of actually pre-filling and assisting you as much as possible with getting that taken care of, so that pretty much you're just reviewing documents and signing so that we can get that training initiated for you. Next slide, please. There's already been some discussions about the Blueprint program for Maryland's future. I just wanted to bring to your attention that we do have Blueprint specialists that are working with the school systems here, and they are your liaison to help you facilitate being able to be involved in getting that talent pool going right within our region. And so we have Miss Erica Thomas and Monica Grove. Erica Thomas is responsible for the Calvert County and Charles County area, and they reach out to our businesses to learn more about your specific needs, to learn more about the opportunities you have with your company, and invite you to come into the school system for presentations, so that we can make our students more aware of what the career paths are right in our region, and with different industry opportunities that they may not be aware of. Also, we have Skill Up Southern Maryland. That is another excellent training tool that we provide to our residents of Tri-County and also to our businesses. And what that is, it is a online free website that has a catalog of over 5,000 different industry recognized trainings, anything from Excel to customer service to PMP to IT, different IT courses that can be accessed on this particular website. We can work with our businesses so that you have a dashboard that you're able to assign particular trainings to your staff. And this one does not require any type of prerequisite as far as your staff having to be with you for 6 months or more. You are free to use this, and any resident within Maryland can actually capitalize on this free training. Like I said, all of the training is industry recognized. Some of the training does come with certifications, and that if you want that official award or certification in hand, there is a small cost associated with it, but that's something too we can work with our businesses to assist them in having for their employees. And then we have the Maryland Workforce Exchange. That's one of the initial ways that our business engagement team reaches out to our businesses and gets you connected with what we do, and ensure that you're able to receive all of our services at no charge. The Maryland Workforce Exchange is a statewide job bank with thousands of talent that are actively looking for work. And so you have the opportunity, once you're registered on that system, to actually list your job openings, also look for talent on there, and there's also a host of additional information such as labor market information that you have free access as well to. So this is one of a free tool for you that is offered through the state of Maryland that is will give you lots of opportunity to connect with local talent. And then one of the things that we are highly recognized for in the area is our ability to assist you with your recruitment efforts. And so one of the things that we are able to take advantage of, that sometimes smaller businesses may not have as large of a footprint on, is being able to have that outreach. We have a large social media following that we do a lot of marketing for your opportunities. We also have a weekly hot jobs list that goes out to over 13,000 actively looking job seekers within our area. And so with our recruitments, what we do is we actually customize them to your need. We often like to refer to them as a mini job fair for just your business. And what we can do is we market your current openings. We go through and we can pre-screen the candidates for interviews for you on a day and time that you have selected. In addition to that, we can do assessments for you. We can help with cultivating that job description that is going to attract the talent that you're looking for. And so we sit down with you, we have that one-on-one conversation with you to not only just read the job description and know what you are generally looking for, but we want to specifically know, what do you look for in a candidate? And then we take all of this information and we mark it accordingly, and we bring that talent to you on a specific day and time. To let you know, we have over the last fiscal year placed over 150 job seekers among our businesses that we work with on a daily basis. And that is through referrals, that's through customized recruitments, that's through our county job fairs, and our annual hiring event, which is the largest hiring event in Southern Maryland, our Tri-County hashtag TCC SMD Get Hired hiring event, which, take note, say the date is coming up on May 15th this year. Registration will open about mid-March, and more information will be forwarded to you. But these are events that we are able to bring a large pool of talent to you and have you network with, let you meet firsthand, get that first impression so that you can move on with your onboarding process. Our last year hiring event brought over 725 job seekers out to 66 businesses. So look for more information if you are needing assistance with recruitment and retainment. So also part of our services is the, what I like to say, the HR aspect. For our larger businesses, we look to be an extension of your human resource department. For our smaller businesses that may not have an HR department, you can lean on us for that. And with that, we are here to give you labor market information, to let you know, are you, as part of your challenge with finding talent, are you competitive with your wages? Let you know what your competition is doing within the area. We're there to ensure that you have a good understanding of the laws and EEO standards that are vital to your business, and also about legislation that's going on that affects your business. Next slide, please. So part of how we get some of this information out to you is by now it is every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, our news broadcasts that we have on Crowdcast. And if you're not currently being able to, if you don't currently have an invite to view this with us, just let me know. I'm more than glad to add you to an invitation list. And we come on, and it's just a short 15-minute news recap to let you know what's going on in the area about news that is specific to your business that affects you. And then we have our monthly newsletter that, again, is another form of communication to let you know what's going on in the area, what's going on within the state, what's going on specifically within your industry that impacts you and that could make a difference with your business. Things that you should know to keep you ahead of the radar. And with that, I have here our business engagement team contact information, just to let you know. All of our business engagement team, we work very closely together. Jackie Chambers is with me today, and each of my colleagues, we all have an industry-focused area. I myself, I cover healthcare, retail, and hospitality. Jackie covers construction, and then I have Salam Agabi who covers IT and professional. But I can tell you, if you reach out to one of us, you've reached out to all of us. We work very closely together. We're here to service you. We want to make sure that we've met your needs, that we can assist you in any way needed. We are a great resource also. If you're not sure who to contact about something, you can reach out to us, and we're going to refer you to the right person. So thank you again, and I look forward to working with all of you.
So really quick, I would like to, I have a shameless plug for Lisa Heitgross. She's the owner of Levy Senior Services, and I really thought it would be nice for you as business owners to get a perspective from a business who is actually utilizing the CTA program in their business. So Lisa, if you don't mind.
Go back to the morning.
I did.
All right, I'm a planner, so I don't like to be. Anyway. Good morning, I'm Lisa Hank-Gross with Loving Care Senior Services, and I just want to say that we have utilized this service for probably 5 years now, and the children, and I call them children, because sometimes you have to groom them, they're very educated. They were able to come in to assist with our social media, marketing, reinvent the websites, because I'm, a little up in age, and they don't mind telling you that it's stale. So, and you have to be fresh. Some of the talents that they had were to create a spreadsheet. Something as simple as, where is the print button again? I've been doing it for a long time, but they're just on it. They were able to go into the day program for the seniors and do activities with them, and we just had a good time. I have a contract with other agencies, and they were able to go into their group homes and assist with activities, nail polishing, and a lot of different things to seniors in Calvert, a lot of hands-on, and whatever I needed, they were there. But the key is to have a plan. Have a plan before they get there, because we all need structure. I know I do. So if you're looking, and sometimes, I'm just going to say it, we as business owners, we are just too busy. I'm too busy to train. I don't have time to train anyone. But take some time and do it. It is well worth it. Well worth it. I do have another student coming in as a CNA this month. So that's very needed in my business. So does anybody have any questions? No questions?
So you did great. I knew you would do a great job.
And again, thank you to everyone at the table and all of the services. Yvette, we're very connected. We appreciate you all.
So I'll also do, as a parent, I'm a senior this year. My daughter is in the CTA program. She's in the nursing program there. And she will graduate. Actually, she hasn't even graduated yet. She's already CNA certified, GNA certified, CPR certified, and Narcan certified. She has gone to the nursing home and to Calvert Health to do hands-on clinicals. And she's, sorry to say, to anybody who's looking, she's already snatched up by a physical therapist that is here in the county working hands-on with them. So, and thanks to the blueprint, I think that was covered here, all of her training has been paid for. It didn't cost me anything for her to have these programs. And I will also say all 6 colleges that she applied for, she was accepted into, and I do think that it was from the capability and opportunity that she got from the CTA program. One other thing about that is the teachers are amazing in the CTA program. Not only just for the things that they're teaching them, but the leadership opportunities that they are providing for them. If you guys are thinking about an opportunity in your business, please reach out to the CTA. They have some really great students, and I know that Jennifer touched on the myths of having a student. My daughter is on time all the time. She picks up extra shifts, and I also want to say when she got that paycheck, she was really engaged, especially now that the minimum wage is $15 an hour. So thank you all for coming today. I do want to open it up to see if there's any questions for the panel. They're a resource for you, and this is a great time to ask if you have questions. Dawn? Laura went. We had to switch up the agenda a little bit. Laura went first because Yvette was a little bit late. So I actually have a question. So one of the slides stated that I think it was Jennifer's slides, interns are usually not until about the age of 30. Is that because they're not coming in early, or is there a way that we can?
Yeah, so you have to turn it on. It's not on. Just hold it for 2 seconds on the top 30. Okay. I did.
So I believe it's just a lack of knowledge that apprenticeship opportunities exist, because, like I said, for about 40 years, the education system has focused on college only as a pathway, not for any fault of its own. It's just, as a nation, we've said college is what you have to do to succeed. So it's people graduating from high school, not succeeding in college, but realizing college isn't for them, and then eventually finding their pathway to an apprenticeship program. So I think we're going to see a big change. Like I said, the largest apprenticeship provider in the state already has dropped significantly, and they have, so IEC Chesapeake currently has 29 high schoolers in their STA program, the School to Apprenticeship program. But they told me that even for, like, they've got kids coming right out of school going into it. So even if they're not able to start their apprenticeship program while they're in high school, they know it exists now because they're actively in high schools recruiting them. So even for those kids that can't fit into their schedule while they're still in high school, they're going in right out of school as opposed to waiting until they're almost 30 and figuring out that it's an option.
Thanks.
So we touched several times on the unemployment we're dealing with right now as a community and nationwide. And I know it's by no means a simple issue that it's just, it's because of this or that, as much as people would like it to be. How do we wind up in this predicament where we're seeing so much unemployment and we're seeing so many job openings that are just staying like vacant? How do we wind up here?
So I'm sure we're all aware of, COVID has changed the landscape for so many folks, and especially within that healthcare industry sector. There's a lot of burnout, so there's a huge need there. And then also along with COVID too, there was a lot of new jobs that came out of it. People were deciding to be their own entrepreneurs. We know there's plenty of room within that low unemployment rate of where some employment is not even being mentioned. Digital marketing is growing at an exponential rate, which is an entrepreneurial opportunity. I consider Lyft drivers and Uber drivers as an entrepreneurial opportunity as well. So some of that data is not captured and not looked at as far as 1099 employees go. So I think that's a big goal. And then, women were affected at a much higher rate as far as employment during COVID as well. A lot of them have not returned to the workforce. And one of the things that Maryland Department of Labor has done is put together child care registered apprenticeship, and then also there's lots of monies out there as far as pulling students and then those adults that are at home taking care of children, moving them into other career pathways to continue that, to allow people to come back to work as well. Is there like a one answer for that? I don't think so. I think there's a lot of different things that have happened, and as Jennifer stated, for over 40 years the focus has always been college is your only opportunity. And now where we look as far as where money is at, and we're talking about registered apprenticeship and youth apprenticeship and getting folks back into work, there's a lot of money that's being put into infrastructure and then new technology. When you look at how the industry sector has changed, just from 1937, where it was the industrial boom, and think about the industrial boom, we needed those welders, we needed the construction workers, we needed the infrastructure to be built around, skyscrapers and roads. And now we look at our roads and you're lucky to not have to have an alignment onto your vehicle every 3 months because of potholes, right? But we need people to do that work. And that's where there's growth coming back into the traditional pathways because there's money for infrastructure. I think one of the largest East Coast building projects was the W&East Bridge that was just completed, and how that's opened up so much activity, for even transportation to bring goods through and from Southern Maryland now, and then also to reach through DC. So that's one of the reasons why you're hearing, so much more about apprenticeship and about these pathways, and then growth even here in, I'm sure Steve could talk about this forever, unmanned aircraft, drones. That's a huge growing industry sector too. Wind, electric cars. We all need people that are in those skill sets and these new jobs that are being created and finding new ways to get more people engaged in using this technology. I'm not sure if I answered your question or not, but I think you lots of information.
I could give you half an hour version of that. We're going through a very dynamic social and demographic shift, I think, finally. I think our career counselors that we talk to in our high schools are changing their tune about things. but we're a victim of our own success. Not only do we have some of the lowest unemployment levels in the state of Maryland, you're looking at top 11, 12, and 13 in the United States of median income levels for these three counties. The thing about it is, when you look at Calvert and Charles, there's opportunities for folks because over 70% of our workforce in these two counties commutes out of the county to other opportunities going north and in DC. Then you have St. Mary's, which their applicant rate is right around 34%. But look, you've got the economic engine there. And Calvert reaps the benefits of that. And you can take on Calvert and cut it kind of in the middle. Folks from the south go down that way. Then you've got, of course, the nuclear power plant, kind of from Prince Frederick, north, that kind of has their thing when they go forward. So it's, and then also kind of look at the shift of, I was fortunate enough to have two boys recently who went through college and, take part of 529. When they were looking at colleges, like, well, hey, what about St. Mary's College? Well, what about maybe, College Park? Okay. But hey, how about Coastal Carolina? Or how about, so even me as a parent, I always remember it's like I wanted them to kind of, because Southern Maryland or St. Mary's County, maybe, it's small. So you also, when you look at kids, want them to experience things. Now, I never said that once they didn't go and get this education, they couldn't come back. But it's sort of like you get that, so you've got that little maybe crux in that difference around that 30 level too, as folks kind of want to get out and experience the world, maybe come back. Because one thing that's great about Southern Maryland, I think you'd all agree with this, it is an absolutely great place to raise a family. I mean, when it gets down to it, this is the place to do it. And my wife and I came from Baltimore, even though she was born in St. Mary's County. I lived in St. Mary's County. When we came down, there was so much to do, for parents, for children, to raise them from that point. What we're getting to find out, we're working through all these different programs, like TPP and what Laura does, and with what Yvette does, is that we're starting to tap in and really getting these folks to understand, hey, there are opportunities outside of different levels, and we're making it, I think, easier on the kids to understand that. And I think and that's where I'm coming with the social shift. I think the social shift is occurring. And then it's also, I meet with about between 120 and 130 businesses a year. I mean, one-on-one, 2-3 hour meetings and all that. Out of those 120 something meetings, 120 of them have workforce issues. And I don't have an answer for that. But it's, what are people looking for? And the big thing is not money, it's work-life balance. So, and it's tough to work with an 18 or 19, 20, what's your work-life balance there? Versus someone has children and family, something like that. So those are things, when we sit down and consult with businesses, we say, what are different ways you can do? What different ways you can do? Sometimes it's not about the money. It's about how you can do to create ways to make things more flexible for your employees. And if you notice, the more flexible you are, the more things you can offer. If you're able to offer, a small business that has kind of a low ceiling there when it comes to cash flow, it make it more difficult. The more things you can do to be creative for your workforce, the better off it's going to work out for you in the long run.
I will tell you all also, Calvert has a less than 5% unemployment rate too. So, put that into context as well. Yep.
I saw one of the slides, bus maintenance apprentice was on one of the slides there. I'm a school bus contractor, and one of my big concerns is that there's only one certified maintenance person in the entire county. That's home mechanic. And the buses that are 12 years or older have to be certified by a maintenance person who is certified by MBA. He's the only one in Calvert County. So most of our buses have to take all the way to Kessler and St. Mary's, who is the only one I know there. So we need some way of getting people to work under these people to develop skills in order to open businesses in Calvert County. Because Mr. Hall isn't going to stay open forever, and I don't know where I would go if he wasn't there. But there is only one in Calvert County, which is a shame. They are of their youth. I think young adults who would find this to be a very lucrative business. It's a very good and strong business because every bus in Calvert County must go through it. So that's just something that's required by state law. And so I'm looking. I just saw that briefly on the slide, but it's something that I think we should be able to work towards as far as getting apprentices. I mean, I can talk to them about getting an apprentice there, but we need to know, what I need to know what benefits are you going to get out of this, bringing somebody to work there.
Thank you for sharing that. I would like to definitely meet with you offline, and I think this is somewhere that Jennifer can assist as well. And are you referring to Kessler that's like almost towards Ridge?
Yeah, that's almost towards Ridge, yeah.
And I know from working with Calvert that they're struggling with the same predicament right now. So I think that might be an opportunity for all of us to really sit down and talk together and see if there's something that we could do, and maybe even bring the schools together and see if there's something that we can do. If it's not already being looked at, I know Charles County is utilizing one of the grants to start integrating youth apprenticeship within the school system as well.
Well, one of the problems we have is space here at the CTE here. We don't have space to add programs, and that was our concern. Would it be possible to do the training on site, like at Mr. Hall's place or at Kessler, rather than, because the schools only have so much space.
Right. Yeah,
That's something
that is absolutely something that we could work those details out around as well. I mentioned, just the piece of knowing where physically the Kessler location is, and I know Jennifer hit on this during her presentation a little bit. It would be wonderful if there's a student that lives really close by there, because it is very remote. But if not, there's always workarounds for that to make that happen. And and I didn't really hit on this, but we said there's shortages everywhere. But one of the goals through Maryland Department of Labor is always where there is shortages and there's needs, those are like highest priority, if you will. And then Steve was just reminding me of one of our programs that closes March 15th. It's the EARN grant, and I'll share that information with you as well. It is open to any business. It works as a cohort though, so there needs to be at least 2, preferably 3 groups that are working together, and you're usually also working with a training facility. It is for adults though, so it's focused 18 and over for that particular workforce, but there's a tremendous amount of money out there, again, for your particular need, because there's a shortage of workers for that. That could be something for you to look at. It's up to $100,000 that you are granted to help upskill and train within that. And I can talk to you offline a little bit about that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Jean?
We're a nonprofit, the Calvert Pipeline, and we are desperate for vet techs. Is that one of the pathways of your 200 paths?
Yes, actually, we are working right now on creating a vet tech apprenticeship program. I'm not 100% sure what county, because we are a statewide county, and that is not one of my specialties. But I can get, if I get your contact information, I can get that to you and find out where we're doing that. Because it is a CTE pathway in the state of Maryland, so there are high schoolers that are being trained to be vet techs. So it made sense for us to try and create an apprenticeship program for that one.
We're also a nonprofit, so we can apply for tax credits. We don't pay a tax.
We did build some time into the end of the program, so I encourage you. They're going to be here till 11 o'clock, so please come out, talk to them. They'll network with you all as well.
I have a very general question for Ms. Turner. Some of the HR services you talked about, is there like a fee structure, or is it free, or what's the, like you're asking for help with, review this policy or job description?
So all of our services are free to any registered businesses that are good standing in Maryland.
Nice.
Which is amazing. So
Amazing.
a lot of us are not good, nor is it our wheelhouse to do those types of things, and they're so good at it. So please utilize your resources. I also will give a shameless plug for ChatGPT, which has been. If you don't know it, it's the thing of the future. So. I want to. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, I have a general question, and I want to just. My name is Yomi. I own a childcare business. The Blueprint. So, the grant program, the grant is coming out for childcare or public schools that want to house 3 and 4-year-olds. it requires some teachers for you to house it in a child care center. You have to have a teacher that must have a degree or some kind of certification. One, we cannot compete with the private schools, with the public schools. We don't have the kind of benefit they offer. So why are we thinking we're going to be able to afford that teacher? And in the past years, what has been happening is we train our teachers. We help them to get there, to get the certification. Once they get it, they go into the public system, into the public school system, because they offer the benefits that we don't have. And that is hurting us as child care owners. That's one. Two, with the public school system now taking in 3 and 4 years old in their program with a grant, where does that leave the private child care owner?
I mean, well, I can say as a parent, so I had the option that I could send my daughter to public school, or I could keep her in private daycare. And I chose private daycare because of the extended hours that were available, and it wasn't a full day for public. So I think there still will be parents that choose, just like choosing to send their kids to private school for public school. But I do understand that there will be less demand, I guess is what you're saying, for those 3 to 4 year olds. But I do think even with this, I mean, it's part of the blueprint to make preschool an option for all the children right now. Because right now, not every kid gets a chance to go to school in Maryland. So I do think this is writing that equity, right now that you have to have money. Because a lot of kids are just going to being watched by a family member, and they're not getting school until they're 5. So I think it is necessary for us as a society to bring that age down and provide the equity to students, but you're right, it is going to go to negatively affect child care providers.
Congratulations for knowing about some of the funding that is out there. If you would like, I can send you some more information in regards to there has been a recent child care apprenticeship that's been put together. There's some money that's tied to that. I know you're speaking specifically to a teaching degree, but there is money out there for that that's just been released within the past 3 months. Hopefully you're tied into MSDE's tidbits that comes through every month, and they'll talk about some of those options as well. As far as the teaching piece, I would have to connect you to the College of Southern Maryland. I know at least 2 years ago, there was a grant for anyone that was interested in pursuing childcare. They could apply to that grant, and once that individual was attached to that particular grant, it would pay for them to receive their master's. So I will connect you with that person afterwards, and then at least if you have those tools in your toolbox to, when you hire someone, give them that information, encourage them to be trained to take those opportunities, apply to those grants that will at least give you that upper edge of retaining those employees and hopefully keeping them on board. And if they're looking at, pursuing childcare to be able to be a teacher, I would hope to think that piece would keep them with you for at least 6 years while they go through that. The other piece to mention, youth apprenticeship does kind of help with that turnover. It's not going to help with the teachers that you have turning over, but if you're seeing, repetitive turnover that's happening within your business, youth apprenticeship can help at least fill that rotating door, because now you have an annual relationship with the school system of continuing each year to get a high school junior or senior to at least fill those entry-level positions.
Thank you. And that's exactly what we've been doing. We've been training teachers. We've been training staff that come in. So they get a certification or they get a degree. They are looking for a greener pasture. I don't blame them. We're all human, But the school system, we cannot compete with. We cannot compete for the benefit. We cannot compete with what they give. But that is hurting childcare.
I don't think we're alone in that industry though. I really don't. There's a lot of industries that can't compete right now, especially with minimum wage going up, benefit opportunities. So I wanted to ask you all, Grace gave you a survey today. If you do anything else other than just put down some training opportunities as business owners that you would like to hear. I also, Yvette came in and talked about this, and she said, we are all a circle of resources. We all talk to one another. We all meet together. I was just with Yvette yesterday and with Laura. So we are here to support your business needs. If there's training or if there are opportunities that you want, please put it on the paper. We do look at the surveys and the information. Like I said, we're going to be here until 11 o'clock if you have questions or if you just want to introduce yourselves to us and let us know what your business is and what you need help with. We are happy to hear from you. We will be sending the slides out. I know Grace passed around the registration form, so I know there was a lot of great information provided today, and we want to make sure that you get the information that you need for your business. One last thing is please take a water, take some fruit, take some pastries, because I don't want to have to bring it back to my office today. So have maybe a brunch snack before you go. And I would like to also thank our panelists today, Yvette, Laura, Steve, and Jennifer for coming out.